Nick Kyrgios' US Open run has finally wrapped up in a 5-set defeat to Karen Khachanov during the men's quarterfinals. This loss officially marks his exit from the US Open. He was so annoyed with himself that he broke 2 rackets, but that's not the first time Kyrgios has had angry outbursts on the court. Here's what went down. First off, how did the match go? Kyrgios, competing 2 days after his stunning victory over defending champion and world number 1 Daniil Medvedev, took his match against Khachanov to a 5th and final decisive set, with the 27th-seeded Russian eventually won 7-5, 4-6, 7-5, 6-7, 3-7, 6-4 within 3 hours and 39 minutes. He's now entered the semi-final encounter where he'll be playing against 5th seed Casper Ruud. This marked the second time Kyrgios and Khachanov played a marathon match at a major, with a third-round win for Kyrgios at the 2020 Australian Open, which went on for 4.5 hours and also had 4 tiebreaks. Khachanov said that he thinks that was the only way he could have won against Nick after making it to the Final Four of a major for the first time. Next up, Kyrgios has had a few health issues. The Australian was slow to get started in the match, and so was the usually loud Arthur Ashe Stadium crowd, as he had trouble with his leg throughout the first set. He still somehow stayed perfect on serve, that is until the 12th game of the opener, when Khachanov nabbed the first break of the match and claimed the set, after which Kyrgios finally gave in and called for the trainer. He then had a medical timeout and got some treatment on his knee and calf, and it must have worked because he got his first break of the match in the third game, holding the advantage to the 6-4 victory. Kyrgios lost some golden opportunities to get himself ahead in the opening game of the third set, and again when the scores were level at 4-4. This made him throw his racket and curse at himself for not being able to convert effing break points. Umpire James Kayothavong surprisingly didn't slam him with the code violation for either offense, and Khachanov also made things easier for him by missing a basic forehand on set point in the next game. But he didn't make the same mistake 2 games later, grabbing a 2-1 lead in the match. Let's take a look at when things began to get heated. The big serving pair shockingly traded breaks quite early in the 4th set before Kyrgios displayed nerves of steel to twice serve to remain in the match, ultimately forcing the 4th set tiebreak. After Kyrgios won the breaker, Khachanov knew he couldn't let it go on like that and immediately grabbed the upper hand in the 5th when he broke the Australian serve in the first game. Kyrgios had a few chances to break point in the 5th set, but the 23rd seed didn't capitalize, as Khachanov wrapped up the win to secure his first semi-final berth at a major. The Australian being forced out means no Australians are left in either the men's or women's singles draw after Ajla Tomljanovic was defeated in her quarterfinal against 5th seed and Wimbledon runner-up Ons Jabeur. After being defeated, Kyrgios said that he thinks Grand Slams are the only tournaments that mean anything. Honestly, I don't even really care about any other tournament. Like, I feel at the Grand Slams, now having success at a Grand Slam, it's just like no other tournament really matters, Kyrgios admitted. Moving on, what's up with Kyrgios? For weeks, the short-tempered tennis player has been talking about how exhausting being on the road has been. His mother is now back home in Canberra and isn't too well. His dad chose not to travel with him for that reason. He also has a baby nephew he hasn't gotten to spend time with. Kyrgios has hinted that this Grand Slam is the end of his season. He made it to the final of Wimbledon in July and won himself a doubles title in Atlanta, as well as the Washington Open singles. Not just that, he also won against Daniil Medvedev twice. It has been a good time for him. It's just sad that this is how things ended. Moreover, just how many fines does Kyrgios have to pay? The 27-year-old has been slammed with a $14,000 fine after the whole debacle, in which he destroyed 2 rackets out of frustration over his quarterfinal loss to Khachanov. He probably thought he'd already been slammed with some pretty heavy fines, and it couldn't get more than that. But this fine is the biggest so far at the Grand Slam. In total, the disruptive tennis player was penalized 5 times and fined a total of $32,500. Earlier during the tournament, he was also fined $7,500 for spitting and swearing. This isn't the first tournament in which he's shown some pretty impulsive behavior. There were also the Wimbledon 2022 fines. Finally, why was he fined at Wimbledon? He did bring his A game during Wimbledon, but he's famous for another thing as well, and that was the massive fines during his Wimbledon outings, and this year was no different. Besides the $35,000 worth of fines at the Grand Slam, he also ended up paying another whopping $14,000 for spitting in the direction of a spectator and shouting obscenities. It's crazy to think how much richer this guy would be if he only could control himself a little bit. But then again, $47,000 probably isn't that much for a professional tennis player. Out of everything, the most insane moment came during his match against Stefanos Tsitsipas. The 27-year-old managed to seriously annoy the Greek number 1 and ended up winning and completely breaking his confidence. After the match ended, they both indulged in some trash talking. Kyrgios called Steph weak and soft, while Steph called his opponent a bully and evil, referring to his unsportsmanlike conduct on the court. In case you forgot, there was also the time he came to a press conference wearing a red cap and red shoes during during the Wimbledon campaign. Players are required to follow a strict white dress code, but this one decided that he can't be bothered with traditions. He wants to wear whatever he feels like. Other related news. Here's the luxury watch Nadal was wearing at the US Open. Logan Baker from watch retailer Hodinkee told us which timepiece it was that Rafael Nadal was spotted wearing in his match against Francis Tiafoe at the US Open 2022. He was wearing his usual Richard Mille, the RM2704 Tourbillon, before shockingly losing to American Francis Tiafoe in the fourth round. Nadal had this one weird habit previously. He used to wear a watch on each wrist. In 2014, he posted a picture on his Facebook page, which was snapped on his route to Monte Carlo, where he was all set to take part in the first ATP World Tour Masters 1000 clay court event of the season. The Spaniard was seen striking a pose in front of some huge scenery, and he was smiling as usual. However, the weird thing was that he had a watch on both his wrists. The photo was on Facebook page Rafael Nadal Fans, which is where someone initially noticed the two wristwatches first and commented on it too. Next up, it looks like Serena Williams is a grunge fan. Serena Williams and her husband Alexis Ohanian were seen attending the concert held by the grunge band Pearl Jam at Madison Square Garden on September 11th. Alexis Ohanian uploaded an Instagram story of another concert goer who took a photo of them. There's also another tennis player who's a fan of Pearl Jam, Iga Swiatek. Recently questioned on what's in her pre-match playlist, Iga said that she listens to 2 Pearl Jam songs before every match. During the on-court interview following her 3-set win in her match against Jewel Niemeyer in the quarterfinals, Swiatek shared that she is afraid of changing her pre-match playlist because she has been listening to the same one for more than a year. Since Swiatek's highest position in 2021 was 4th, her current playlist gave her the kick she needed in order to get to the WTA World #1 position. The 2 Pearl Jam songs are Even Flow and The Porch. Besides that, her playlist also has Gorillaz and some Led Zeppelin too. Finally, Roger Federer is hanging up his rackets. Tennis legend Roger Federer has officially announced his retirement from the sport and revealed that next week's Laver Cup in London will be his last ever ATP tournament. He gave his reasons for this too. The past 3 years were pretty tough on him. He was handling injuries and going into surgeries. He did his best to whip himself back into competing form, but he had to be honest with himself, recognize his limitations and capacities. As a result, he realized that it was officially time to retire at the age of 41 with 20 Grand Slam men's titles under his belt. He explained all this in a social media post on Thursday. The entire tennis community is still reeling from the shock, as are the fans. Tennis won't be the same without this guy. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on Kyrgios being ousted from the Grand Slam? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.